Hey guys, Connor here with StudySkills.ie, and this is going to be the last final lecture of the How to Learn section. And basically it's not really a lecture like we had before, it's just going to be a summary of all of the techniques that we've gone through and some of the theory that we've gone through at the start. So it's going to be a nice little reference point for you if, in case you want a quick refresher of what we actually went through. This little lecture is going to be, it's going to give you that. So like I say, if you want to just remind yourself of what we've done, you know, plug this lecture in, watch it, it's only going to be a few minutes, and then you'll be reminded of exactly what we went through. So the first thing that we went through was that our brain learns information through pictures that are unusual, organized, real, and in some way connected to our lives. So when we're trying to learn information then, we must incorporate as many of these elements as we can, and doing so is going to enhance your learning potential tremendously. Now in the How to Learn section, we focus on 5 specific memory techniques which utilize all of these elements in a progressive manner. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to briefly run through those 5 methods again. The first one we learned was the number rhyme peg system. Now using this system we were able to learn 10 random pieces of information in quick succession. The system is very limited however, but if you do need to quickly remember 10 items and their order, then it can be quite useful just to do this system because it's really easy and it's really fast. Next is the chain method. Now using the chain method we were able to learn large amounts of information by linking one piece to the next, forming a long chain. And the chain method is great for learning information in such subjects as geography and history, where you're required to remember long chains of events. So they're not the only 2 subjects, but any subject where you're required to learn long chains of events and long pieces of information, the chain method is going to be really beneficial for those subjects. Next we had the linking system. And the linking system works by tying new information that you are trying to learn with information that you already know. And it can be used to enhance your understanding of a subject, but it is particularly useful for learning languages. So you'll remember this was our 3rd learning technique, and we were able to learn 9 foreign words very simple. And this is a technique that I always use and help students to learn languages with. It really is extremely beneficial for learning languages. Next was the journey method. So the journey method works by traveling through a journey that is familiar to you and placing certain pieces of information at each stage along the way. And the journey method can be used for learning all types of information, and the sequential flow that it follows is great for subjects like business and English. And again, like I said with the chain method, you don't need to just focus on business and English when you're using the journey method. It can be used for lots, but it is particularly useful for subjects of that nature. Finally then we had the memory palaces, one of my favorites by far. Now the memory palaces are the most advanced and also the most useful of the techniques that we learned, simply because you're able to learn such a large volume of information with this technique. And using an advanced form of the journey method, that's what the memory palaces is. The memory palaces enable you to learn large amounts of information, like I said, in very short periods of time. Now this method is particularly useful for learning abstract information and thus is great for subjects like the sciences. But when you do learn this technique of the memory palaces, you're probably going to find yourself using it for all of your subjects all the time. Now all of these memory techniques will prove useful to you in a variety of learning situations, and as you continue to use them you will find that one or two or you have 1 or 2 favorites, and you're going to begin to use those all the time. And this is very good because the more that you become skilled in these techniques, the faster and more efficient you're going to be able to assimilate information. Finally, it really does take a little bit of practice to get good at these techniques. So even if you've gone through them here with me, you're still going to need a little bit more practice until it becomes automatic for you to transfer those information into those techniques that we've gone through and to learn it very, very quickly. Fortunately, however, even when you're starting out, it's still much, much better than learning through normal rote memorization. The stuff that you normally do is still a lot less sophisticated than these techniques, even when you're starting out. And soon, with use, you're going to become a super learner. So that was the end of the How to Learn section. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't quite get some of the lectures, I really encourage you to go back and go through them. They're going to be here. I'm not going to take these lectures down. So post some questions, send me some emails if you're not sure about them, and we'll come up with different videos that may be a little bit more helpful. And like I said, if you can go through these lectures and the techniques, you're really going to be amazed at how beneficial they are to you. So now, if you like, you can move on to the next section, which is the What to Learn section, and that also is going to be very, very beneficial.